it goes through some textual variants, so it's a good one. All right, the Anvil Rings series by Eric Lyons. So this one, I'm going to go down to there. All right. This it provides a thorough defense of the Bible's alleged contradictions, and so it goes along with the same thing. So this is another one that's telling you that the Bible, we have the right Bible. When we're accused of these inerrancies and allegations of contradictions, that there's not, and it goes through and shows you why the things that they point out are not contradictions.
Are those ones books?
Yes, so there's the Anvil Rings 1, there's Anvil Rings 2, and there's actually Anvil Rings 3 out now. It's already out because I saw it.
It's over there.
It's over there. So if it's not gone. So those are, the third one is coming out. Those are really good.
Has the Bible been corrupted with DVDs?
The first one was a DVD.
DVD. Sorry, I should tell you.
Workbooks or anything, or is it
It's just the DVD.
Just the DVD. So it's in a lecture type form. And then is the Bible reliable? Is also another one that goes with those. It's a 10-lesson series by Eric Lyons. Okay, so Valor and Virtue. This is a teen magazine. It's an apologetics teen magazine. It helps prepare teens for their inevitable battles with Satan, especially battles against naturalism. That's the belief that everything is natural. There's no supernatural way that we came to be. Hedonism, that's a huge one in our culture now. That's pleasure is everything. And then pluralism, the belief that all religions are true in their own way. So it has a lot of detailed information about those things. Surveying the Evidence. This is Wayne Jackson, Eric Lyons, and Kyle. But this is a book. It refutes atheism and evolution. It's about the historicity and deity of Christ.
Okay. And then this is a book. It's on. It's called Science versus Evolution. And it goes through the laws of science and shows how not only do they not support evolution, but they actually build the creation model, build up the creation model. So you can get that in the book form that has a lot of detail, or they can watch it, or you can use it together. The DVD has less information, but for somebody who likes maybe to watch more, that would be good. There's also another DVD. This is done by 4 scientists and a Hebrew scholar, Justin Rogers. And it's in lecture format. And they go through and show that the Big Bang didn't happen, and some things along those lines. Okay, and then we have books and DVDs. There's both a book and a DVD for each one of these. So, Behold the Lamb of God, Behold the Word of God, and Does God Exist? And actually, the titles have been changed on Behold the Lamb and Behold the Word. They're changed just to reflect better the material that's covered. So, Behold the Lamb is about the historicity of Jesus and shows that he really lived. You can prove that. And Behold the Word shows the accuracy of the Bible, all the details, the geography, the historical, the prophecies that were made. And then Does God Exist? Goes through just a lot of the proofs that God is. Okay. And then again, we are running a sale on the Behold the Word. It's only $3 because they are changing the title. So get it while you can.
So those are for like some younger grades too, not just 12th grade.
Okay, so you'll find a lot of material there. It's written as we go through. We're starting with our upper grades, but you'll see a lot of the same type of information we'll say is covered in another book that's written more for a younger audience. So these are written in a more complex way, and then we do have similar ones that we'll discuss later that are written for a younger audience. Okay, and then we have this book, Why People Suffer. So this is an argument, the argument of pain and suffering that atheists use a lot, just to claim that the God of the Bible, a loving, benevolent God, can't be real. And so it shows the true biblical reason for pain and suffering. It helps prepare your kids for having those discussions with friends, but it also prepares them for the challenges that they're going to face in life when they go through suffering, to have the right perspective on it.
Okay. We're still in grades 10 to 12. So, I'm sorry. So this one is Christianity logical? This is another Dave Miller. This is a smaller book. This is one that has questions. It has study questions with it. We've actually gone through this in a Wednesday night Bible class, and it's really good for your older teens or your adults. But so this is one you might want to go through with them and do. It just takes your basic logic and shows how the Bible is very logical, and so it's a really good one. Then you have The Bible is from God. This is a 152-page book, and this one has study questions. This is just a sampling of the evidence, is its subtitle. It's the evidence that's been proclaimed and presented to firmly establish the inspiration of the Bible. It includes the nature of the Bible, inspiration, why the Bible is not a book of fables, how messianic anticipations verify inspiration, and it has instances of foreknowledge and the characteristics of the Bible writers. It goes through and talks about the Bible writers and their how they wrote very logically.
Okay, and then we have the Hidden in My Heart books and CDs. And so the books are designed for grades 10 through 12. And the CDs, ideally, you would start your kids on these CDs when they're young. If you didn't, then, and you have older kids, you could totally let them learn the songs now. But the way they were designed, my husband was working with our youth group, and he was trying to encourage them to speak with their friends themselves about the gospel. And he found that there were several topics, the same kind of topics that consistently came up, and that he for his own study needed certain verses memorized, and then he wanted the kids to learn those verses for themselves so that they could, like I said, teach their friends. And so he initially put them to songs. So these are designed for evangelism purposes. The songs are just, I've forgotten how many are on each CD, but specifically chosen for evangelism. And then the books show how to use those verses, like in conversation, why different scenarios, different conversations that you might be having, different questions that your friends might have, and how you could use those verses to have a good conversation.
Okay. So also for the older teens and then adults, we have the Reason and Revelation. This is a monthly journal that comes out. The topics, there's tons of different topics, but it's a scientific journal, so a lot of it is more the science in the Bible. answers alleged Bible contradictions, just like it takes some of the things like in anvil rings. The creation evolution controversy, biblical archaeology, the deity of Christ, human genetic engineering, the inspiration of the Bible, ethical issues, and then the culture war. It'll take, I think they did a whole 3 or 4 series of just homosexuality, which, our kids are being bombarded with that. So those were really good too. So it takes different issues that we're having in culture, and it'll come out in this monthly journal. Oh, also me. All right, the Dinosaur Delusion. So later I'm going to talk about our dinosaur book that's for the younger kids. Well, this is the same type of information like Julie was saying. It's just written on a higher level. And so your older high school kids, this is what they would want, what you would want for them. It takes the scientific and historical evidence into the biblical model of creation and just refutes the concept that dinosaurs lived millions of years ago, and proves that of the younger Earth. And so
okay, and then we have the Silencing of God and Christ in the Continental Congress, which is the follow-up book to Silencing of God. So these books document America's religious heritage. Unfortunately, atheists and Marxists have made significant inroads in convincing modern Americans that our founders were irreligious and immoral men. And these books study the evidences that show that the American Republic was purposely founded on the moral principles of the Christian religion. And then these are the DVDs that go along with them, Silencing of God and America's Most Pressing Concern. Okay, and then the Proclamation Packet, which is a supplement to Christ in the Continental Congress. It includes all 15 proclamations issued by the Continental Congress and also has a copy of the Declaration of Independence. And then in this book, God and Government, it answers the question, what does God say about government? So if God was to give us a plan for government, what would that look like? And that was something I had never really thought about. So I love the material in this book. I am interested in government, so. But anyway, that's a good one. And then Fake Founding Fathers quotes examined. So in our modern times, we see a lot of, like I mentioned before, that people are trying to make our founding fathers look different from what they were if you read their documents that they put out themselves. And so sometimes, just like people do with the Bible, they pull out a quote and they use it and they twist it from its original meaning. So this book takes some of those quotes and puts them into their proper context so that you can examine it for yourself and get the true meaning and the true impression of our founding fathers. And then Church and State. This is a DVD set that goes over some of this material.
Okay, and so we have the Flooded book, which is, I mean, it's relatively new. It's one of our newer things, by Jeff Miller, and this is a textbook. This is meant to be a science class. This is great. It's really pretty, and it's just good to. It's really.
Fantastic.
It is. Thank you. Yeah, I could talk about the Flooded book for a while. Our teams are going through it right now, and they're getting good things out of it. So. It's listed as 8th through 10th grade, and so our teenagers are in 9th grade. They're going through it right now, but I really feel like if your 10th and 11th grader or 12th grader hasn't done it, They could do it too. So it's a really good. It's answering the question: where's the scientific evidence for a flood covering the whole earth? The neat thing about it is it looks into the studies of 12. Like it kind of touches on 12 different scientific fields. There's review questions, vocabulary in the back, glossary in the back, appendices. However you say that word. Appendices. Wait, what's the word? Indices. I'm gonna come there. I thought I was a words girl too. So anyway, Flooded. It's a good book. We have a couple more things to say about that.
Okay. This year we're actually going to be doing the first Flooded course that's available for credit for your high school student. And it'll be taking place in Arizona this fall for 11 days, November 1st through 12th. And students will get to go to the Grand Canyon, Petrified Forest, the Painted Desert, Meteor Crater, Sunset Crater, Volcano, a cave, and more. Let's see. I wanted to read this blue box to you, so I'm going to step over here so you can see it. Okay. Let's face it, most high schoolers learn religionless science at best or evolutionary pseudoscience at worst. Neither is what God intended science to be. A primary purpose of science is to learn about God and the things that He has done. And so this book and then this class, they really prepare a student to understand all the scientific disciplines from a Christian framework, a biblical framework. And so much of science is the way we understand it has to be understood with the flood kept in mind. So that's why it's titled Flooded. So okay, and if you are interested in this, in your child is attending this Flooded class, I think you can still get in. Technically the date passed, but I happen to know there are still a few spots available.
You can talk to the guy in charge.
The class is separate from the trip.
Okay, so you could do this class at home. You could just take the book and study it with your student, and that is wonderful. But with this, you can go and actually be at these sites, see them with your eyes, and Jeff's going to be teaching it, so you have the expert right there to answer your questions, and so of course that's benefit. Mm-hmm.
And is this a course that you foresee being offered annually for several years? I don't have a child that's old enough yet, but I love this idea.
We've had a lot of people say that, and so I know he'd like it to happen annually, and it'll probably depend on just being able to get enough students.
Yeah, that's the hope, though, right?
Information.
Okay, if you're interested in this, you can email Jeff Miller. It's jeff@apologeticspress.org, or you could call AP.
This is also on the website. I just would need to remember how exactly to find it. There's a way to search it, but we found it the other day on there, so it is on the website too. So as far as the Arizona course, I think also he will send assignments for them to do ahead of time. So they'll have things that they're supposed to do before they go on the trip. So it won't just be, but it will be a lot of supplement too. So it's gonna be a really good thing. Also, what else was it? There was something else I was gonna say about that. Oh, there's quizzes. So leading into this is the Flooded website, and then we use the ones that are going on the trip too. But you can use this at home. So if you're doing this course at home, you're just going through the chapters, there's a website just dedicated to this Flooded book. And so it's floodedbook.org. And I was hoping to have it set up where you could see me click on some of this stuff, but you see the tabs up there, you have the teaching tools. All right, so under teaching tools, you have your chapter question answers. So the answers are on there. All your vocabulary list is on there. Your ABR. So Advanced Bible Reader. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit, hopefully, if we make it to it. Advanced Bible Reader is also another site that has quizzes. So they take the quiz for each chapter. For the videos, there's also supplemental videos. And the videos on the website is supplemental material. It's not what's in the book. It's actually extra. So the videos are really good too. So it just comes with a lot of information. But there are quizzes for that. And so that takes you to the flooded ABR website, and you sign your kid up with a login and a password, and then yourself up so that you can see. And it grades it for you. It keeps up with their average. It's great. It's a great website. So that don't forget about that if you get the flooded book. Don't forget to go on and look at the website because it's very handy.
That's what you were saying. That's part of the course.
Yes. So
I texted with Jeff about, or messaged with Jeff about exactly how that was supposed to work.
mm-hmm.
And he was laying out different options of using that for science, not
Mhm.
just. He told me that you could count like as a principles of science or something course, and
Like an earth science, yeah. So
it hits on each subject, scientific field
Mhm.
from that one perspective.
So that's what we didn't say. It is actually can be a high school credit. So this can be a credit for your child. That's what we spent. You know, it's specifically for homeschoolers, and students. So we spent a little more time on that then. So, but don't forget about the website.
Okay, and then also we have summer internships available. This is for students 16 and up. They just need to contact Jeff Miller at that same address that I gave before and let him know if they're interested in applying. Study is tailored to the individual student, whatever their desired major is. They get to study creation science and evolutionary science in preparation for college. They attend creation science conferences. In some cases, they participate in creation science fieldwork with Dr. Jeff, and in the past, some have joined him. You can see in these pictures different places they've been. They've gone to Grand Canyon in Arizona, the dinosaur fossil beds and seismites in Wyoming, caves throughout the Appalachian and Ozark Mountains. So there are a lot of different opportunities to study over the summer.
Okay. So this is the AP study course. It's kind of like a mini version of our Explorer series, which we'll talk about in a minute. But so there are 3 sets. There's the introductory, intermediate, and advanced. You can use these in the 7th and 8th grade. This is more middle school. We've moved into middle school here. We've used them in Bible classes before. You can use them at home. You can use them to study with other people. So they're versatile in that way. They're 10 lesson studies, 8 pages per lesson. They include study exercises with them. So the introduction goes over, it's easier to read, vocabulary is easy for young people to understand, so that's why it's put in this 7th and 8th grade category. Includes topics like the causes of unbelief, the existence of God, creation versus evolution, and just a general introduction to the Bible, plus the plan of salvation. The intermediate level is designed for the students who's already completed the first one. And so if you're looking to buy those, you would, and they haven't gone through the first one, you would want to either have all 3 sets or start with the first one. The intermediate includes faith and knowledge, how man is made in the image and likeness of God, Jesus as Lord, Satan's origin and mission, the problem of evil, pain and suffering, destiny of the soul, and creation versus evolution. So these just have a bit of all the things we've talked about so far. And then the advanced goes into more in depth. So those are the 3 levels. Okay, also, is that up there? All right, we have Out with Doubt by Kyle. It examines the existence of God, the inspiration of the Bible, the age of the earth, dinosaurs in the Bible, miracles, the resurrection of Christ, and also what a person must do to be saved. This is a great one for the middle school age. because it talks about all those different topics right there in that one book. Reasons to Believe. This is a great tool for preparing for evangelism specifically. So if you're looking for something to prepare your kids for evangelism, this is a good one. It expounds on 7 reasons to believe in God, 3 reasons to believe in the Bible, 5 reasons to believe in Jesus, and 4 reasons to do more than just believe.
Okay, and then the sequel to Out with Doubt is called A Matter of Fact, and it examines biblical faith, Bible and archaeology, the laws of science, and the consequences of unbelief. And then Always Be Ready is designed to help teens prepare to be ready to defend their faith and lovingly and fearlessly confront the skeptic.
Okay, then we have the Defender series. This one's a little different than most of AP stuff, but it's still covering the same type of material. Was a collaboration actually with Lads to Leaders and with World Video Bible School.
You need an amen corner. Can I interrupt for just a
Oh
second?
yeah, absolutely.
So this says grade 7 and 8, but our high schoolers did this book, and now our college young adult class is doing this book, and it's amazing. We've only done the first book, but our kids took the Defenders test as a Lads event. But even if you don't do Lads, you could still do the book and gain from it. And the reason I love it the most is because it's easy for lazy people. You read the chapter and there's a QR code and you scan the QR code, because what teen doesn't just love to scan codes? And it brings up a very relevant, modern, fresh looking video, either by Kyle or Eric, and it goes with that lesson.
Yeah, it's really neat. I've been exploring with that in the last few weeks, and doing the QR codes is just fun, even for an adult. But of course, the kids love to do the QR codes. It pops up those videos. The World Video Bible School actually recorded those, and they did an excellent job. So there's, I don't know why it's buzzing. I don't know what I'm doing. It's Defenders 1 and 2, and then the third one's coming. It's not too far behind, so it's about to be here.
And the Illuminators.
Oh, and then that's not on here. I don't think that's on here. The Illuminators is kind of it's almost like a
Novel?
yeah, it's a novel that goes with that. But there's 2 of those too, I think. Illuminators 1 and 2. So
If you're not using this in your high school or middle school classrooms at the building, you should. I mean, somebody asked me recently, what are y'all using for teen? And I named, I was like, oh, that's from AP. Oh, that's for AP with Lads. That's AP with Lads. Not just for homeschool, but like get your deacon of education. There you go, I'll be quiet now.
no, you're good. Thank you. Hey, you said all the things I wanted to, so great.
I'm an amen corner for the reasons to believe, because when the tornadoes first hit, Corey, my husband, messaged Kyle and he was like, hey, we've got a lot of doors to knock. What do you recommend? Kyle was like, here's what I recommend. We have been giving them out, and we have them set out everywhere for volunteers, and they are just bent. The pages are all bent, where everyone's been reading through them, and they love those books.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad to hear that.
Okay, this is Truth Be Told. It is a book that is meant to supplement a traditional high school textbook. So it goes through some of the common so-called proofs of evolution and refutes those. So this is a good way to expose your kids to some of those ideas that their friends may have heard, so they can have those discussions. Yes, this is a new edition, so there are a few changes from the old one, probably quite a few.
Okay, so we're Dinosaurs Unleashed. This is the one that my kids always have loved, the old Dinosaurs Unleashed, and this is the newer version of it, the updated 3rd edition. It's just so pretty. It's good. It's nice to look at, but it then also has all the information. Like I said, Dinosaur Delusion would be what your older teens would do, and then this would be the same type of information just for a younger crowd. There's 100+ pages more stuff in this one. So there's new things even if you have the old one.
Okay, and then Wonders of God's Creation. It examines many amazing animals, their complex designs, Also, if you do IEW, these work great as source texts for that. It's a writing program.
Okay.
IEW, it's
Like
a writing program.
Institute for Excellence in Writing.
Oh.
So
But
if
it
you're-
works great for
They use different source texts, and this is a good one if they're not wanting to use the source text in the book. Okay, so these are some other books that they're labeled as grades 3 through 6. I'm going to be honest, whenever I went through these with my kids, I got as much out of them as, it has a lot of the same things that you're going to find in those older books that talk about why the Bible is the right thing, that, we have what we're supposed to have. So you have, how do you know the Bible is from God? How do you know God is real? And then another book, another one of the extras is the Does God Like to Paint? And this was written by Brandon and Alana. I always say her name wrong. Alana May. They're both astrophysicists, and they wrote this book. And it's another beautiful one to look at.
Okay, and then we have this track series that's designed for kids. It just goes through a lot of both science and morality topics.
The Explorer series, so these come in packets. You have 8 journeys, so there's 8 packets, 8 different things. Each one has 13 lessons in them with 8 pages. They have questions, activities, puzzle words, finds, things like that in them too. So this is kind of the upper elementary, I guess I just said that, the 3rd through 6th grade. A lot of people, they'll use the Bible curriculum, which we'll talk about in a minute, in their Bible class, and then as their middle school class, they'll use, or their upper elementary class, they'll use these in Bible class, Explorer series. So those are really handy.
Rose, I have a question.
Oh,
When you use
sorry.
Explorer series,
Mhm.
do they go in a specific order? Like do you need to do them in a specific order for them to make sense?
Okay.
Or did you say there's 10?
There's
8
8.
packets?
There's 8 packets.
13 in each?
So I would do them in order. There are a few things that do build on themselves, but a lot of them are standalone. So if you were to pick up 3 and take that home, I think you're going to understand it. But I need to look back into that.
We did them in order, but I think there are concepts that they reference back to.
To the beginning.
Yeah.
It's connected in some way. So I'm working on ABR quizzes for the Explorers. And so some of them do build on each other some. So I would start with the first series. If your kid moves and starts in class and they've already on journey 4, they're still going to get a lot out of it. But I would recommend starting with one. And there will be ABR quizzes for this eventually.
Okay, and then we have Discovery Magazine. You can get this as a monthly subscription that comes to your home. But you can also get bound volumes for back years. These also have the fun QR codes and neat reinforcement videos that are designed for grades 3 through 6. And it goes through lots of different kinds of topics, science, the church, family, just various Bible issues. And then even my older kids use those bound volumes to go back and look for topics. Kind of my junior high age kids do. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, as you can see, just lots of different kinds of things they cover, and they're really pretty and attractive. Okay.
So some of the older bound ones aren't going to have the QR codes, but the
Right.
newer,
The
the
last
last couple
2
years have the QR codes. Those are ones that are on sale too, right? The bound one?
Those are on sale for $3.
$3. The bound one, the bound discoveries.
Okay, that's
Okay, and then the readers, we'll kind of go through these quick. I think most people know what our readers are. You have the full color pictures, and so they can learn to, or this is the more advanced. So we started with the advanced since we're going downstairs. So this is downstairs, down the steps of the ages. This is the advanced reader series.
Okay, and then the intermediate readers. And again, there are ABRs for all of those. and we're just gonna keep moving.
Those are fabulous too. I'm teaching 2s and 3s right now, and I love AP's Bible curriculum, but we found that with 2s, it's hard. So what I've been doing, thanks to Kayla Hartville, is using these readers for like a month, and we're doing a unit on that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just kind of gearing it down, and it's apologetics for 2-year-olds. We talk a lot about God designed the animals, and God said, and Bible words tell us that those books, we're just using the visuals from those books for the 2s class.
And these rhyme. That's always fun.
Okay, and then Digger Dug. So in Digger Dug, you have fun characters, and it's kind of like a Barney looking thing, and also
It's better than Barney.
then they sing some songs together, learn some science concepts, just at a very, very basic level. It introduces them to some apologetics topics, and be sure to look for Paleo Paula as you go through the Digger Dugs.
Somebody asked what episode it was. I might just say, you just have to figure that out. Oh, no, I'm kidding. I'll answer when I remember. Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
And then we have these flashcards that are intended for as young as 9 months. So it just has a pretty color picture and a word, and you're just teaching them that word, and then you build on that with little details that are added on the back to teach them just about all of the wonderful things that God made. And also the study Bibles. We have 4 different kinds over there. These study Bibles basically have about every topic that AP has ever put something out on. It's kind of in a simplified form, all tucked away in this Bible. So these are great for your graduation gifts, or just for sending away with your older kids as they're leaving home, or for your own study. Okay.
Oh, and this is the Bible timeline. I don't know what's happening. So this is a great visual, and it's very big. It's it says 24 by 94.5. It's basically 3 big posters. It comes with 3 posters, and you can post them. So if you have a really big homeschool room, you might want to think about that. So it's great because it has the biblical chronology, sorry, and it corresponds with the world history. So it's Genesis 1:1 to present day, and it just has it all in there. We have some with us, but they're in the back, so if you want one of those, you'll have to specifically ask us because they're not sitting out.
Okay, and then the Bible class curriculum. This is great to use in your congregation, but if your congregation is not using it, you can use it at home. It's free, and it starts with 2s, although it is a little complex for some of your 2s, but it goes through 4th grade, and it's not just an apologetics curriculum. It goes through all of the Bible, and of course it's been gone over by the guys at AP, so you can rely on it. Okay, maybe I'll.
All right, this is the Advanced Bible Reader site. It's me every time. So this it's advancedbiblereader.org, and this has a lot of quizzes. It has quizzes for, like you said, starting from the readers up in the books, like the rhyming books. All of those books are going to be on there. I think the How Do We Know the books are on there too, and also just the whole Bible. So from every chapter of the Bible, there's a quiz to take on that, so they can read it, go and take their quiz. It grades them for you. Again, keeps up with their score, what their average is, and so that's where. Did you have a question back there?
I'm just giving you a 1-minute warning.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we gotta go. But discoveries are on there, and we're working on getting explorers on there.
So that's free, like you just make an account?
Yeah, you just make an account and you're on there, so it's great. So if you're not using that,
So
you should use it.
AdvancedBibleReader.org
Yes, advancedbiblereader.org.
Be sure to use AP's website, and they have an app that you can download. You can set your kids, if your kids have Kindle, you can set it up where they can access those things safely without having freedom to roam on the internet.
And that's pretty new, the website and the app. You have AP Camp, if you don't know about AP. Isn't that right? Yeah, it's AP Camp. In coordination with Indian Creek Youth Camp, there's 1 week of the year that's in it's in the first week of June, and it's in Alabama. It's in the Jasper area. I can't remember the exact town, but it's Indian Creek Youth Camp. There you go. And so it's a lot of fun. Sign up early whenever the sign up comes, because it usually fills up pretty quickly.
And these worship notes are training for your kids to sit in worship and take notes.
Oh, this dating book. This is by Jeff and Julie. This is in the way we should go. That's a child rearing book. These are both great for your kids to use, for you to read, and get good ideas. One of the things that I like is Jeff right now is going through with the kids at Panama Street, the teenagers. First they went through the dating book. Now they're going through In the Way He Should Go. You know, it's good for them to prepare for one day when they're parents. So you can go through that book with them at home too. It goes the first one. This is the first volume. There's going to be four volumes. So he's working on the second one. He's almost got that ready. So those are good. Those are great.
And then this is our last thing, rhyming books. They're a lot of fun. They go through the story of Job, Rich Young Ruler, and the Prodigal Son. So be sure to check those out. And thank you for your attention, and we're available if you guys have questions.
Yeah, if y'all have questions, feel free to ask us. Maybe that's no answer.
We have a 10-minute break. Start in here at 2:30.
Oh, did you put it? Oh, no.
What is Ashby texting me?